A man was test driving a car from a dealership and got a ticket because the dealership didn't have plates.
When he stopped me, he asked for my driver's license, and he says, the reason why I stopped you is because you don't have a license plate in the back. And he said, this has been ongoing with these dealers, and we've been getting on these guys for doing that. In order for us to make them abide, we're going to start citing the customers. It does upset me that, I'm in the middle of this feud.
That is so
Isn't that
unfair.
Outrageous. It happened in Texas, by the way.
So that is it's the equivalent or the epitome of punishing someone who has no control over the situation just to get back at the person who's
it's like you get a TV from like Best Buy and you get it out to your car and the police are like, oh, Best Buy didn't have that properly registered or something. You're like,
no,
what?
So what? Not my fault.
No, are you in charge of your own driving and what your vehicle you're driving? Usually a dealer, though, does put a magnetic plate
I can tell you right now, we just test drove cars very recently. It was a very big to-do about making sure that we did not pull away from that parking lot until the tags were attached.
Who, for you or the dealership?
Not our responsibility. It was theirs. And they made a very big point of do not get in the car and drive away until we do this. It's their responsibility.
I think the law is that it's yours.
Why?
Jason for big business.
Why?
Corporate America.
No,
How?
that's
Where
not
am I
true.
supposed to get the tags?
I think that your responsibility of what car you drive. I think it's wrong, though, because you assume the dealership is going to put on a magnetic tag.
I don't have access to
You don't
the
have
tags.
the tags. It's not.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out. Let's go to someone who actually went to law school.
Yes, please.
And is top 100 attorney in the country. Lisa Lanier. Good morning, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, good morning. I know this is so unfair to this guy in Texas, but the law is operating a vehicle without license plates, not owning a vehicle without license plates. So it is on the driver. So when you pull
Lisa,
out,
can we stop you there?
Lisa, hold on,
Listen,
please.
I know you're supposed to be honest.
Lisa,
you're making Jason's head really big right now.
absolutely not.
Can you
No,
say
I mean,
you're
it is.
mistaken?
It's unfair. It's
Okay.
unfair.
Well, we
and
all
this
agree on that.
particular dealership, the Toyota dealership, they have, for whatever reason, been terrible about this, and the police have been after them, and they finally said, look, we're going to start ticketing your test drivers, and then they're going to raise hell, and that's going to get you guys in trouble, and maybe that'll make you listen. It's to prove a point, get them to follow the law. But there's all kinds of things you can get. When you're test driving a vehicle, all the normal laws apply to you. So if you get in an accident, in most states, the insurance goes with the vehicle, so there should be a policy of insurance on the vehicle you're test driving. But if it's low, if it's minimum limits, then your own insurance could have to kick in. If you get in an accident, it's your fault. And you can get a speeding ticket, anything.
Well,
you
speeding,
name it.
yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Speeding, because then I'm in charge of the vehicle.
If I'm in their car and I'm shooting out the window with a gun and killing people, I get that's on me, not the dealership.
And also, if it's an accident and it's my fault, then that's my fault.
But let me ask you, can the person, let's say Katie, she said she was test driving cars not too long ago, and they made a big to-do-ha about having the plate on because the dealership felt responsible. But let's say they had a new salesperson and he forgot to do it. She gets the ticket like maybe this guy did. Can she now sue the car dealership for ruining her driving record or at least getting the ticket and recouping the money?
Yeah, they pay for it.
I mean, it probably wouldn't be worth suing anybody over because it's a couple $100, it'd be small claims, if anything. But in this instance, what I read conflicting accounts that this Toyota dealer had offered to pay the ticket. But then I read the guy that was mad, you played a clip of a minute ago, that he said, no, they didn't actually offer to pay the ticket. They wrote me up a deal to buy the vehicle, and they knocked the amount of the ticket off of the sales price.
Classic used car salesman.
Can't you just see that? Can't you just see that?
Oh,
That's typical, right?
Yes.
He's like, let me go ask my manager.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a minute.
Right.
Let me see what we can
Exactly.
do.
He's back in the drinking
Exactly.
coffee. He's
But
like, yeah.
it seems very unfair. But, I bet now in that little Texas town, because it's got a lot of notoriety, I bet that people go to that little dealership, they're going to be like, I'm not test driving that till you put a tag on it.
Or
Yeah.
they're going to lose customers, too. I would want to go to a dealership that, one, forgets, and two, refuses. If they did just knock $200 off the price, I would be
they should do like, oops, we forgot the tag sale, and then offer $1,000 off all their cars. Like something to make fun of the fact they made a mistake.
And to own it.
Yeah.
To own it.
Own it.
Right.
Yes.
Own
They
it,
totally should. They totally
Let me
should.
ask you this, Lisa. If, let's say, same dealer or any dealership, let's say you have the tags, but for some reason you got pulled over and it wasn't registered, or they had something else they didn't do, there's no way for the consumer to know. They could still, could they get in trouble for that?
Well, I mean, I don't think they would be charged with like, Grand Theft Auto or anything if it was like, not legitimately. But, registration is a little bit weird. Most states don't now give you a ticket separate for registration. It's all tied now for the most part through license tags.
Okay.
And including inspections now. A lot of states have done away with inspection tickets, and they just tie like you can't renew your tag until you've gotten it inspected. And so that way it's kind of like cutting out on some of the policing that they're having to do.
What about
that way they just get you for the tag.
Because I've seen a lot of bad movies, Lisa. What if you're test driving a car and you got pulled over for whatever reason and you had like some kilos of cocaine in the trunk that weren't yours?
Oops.
All right, since you're driving, are you liable?
You would they would probably arrest you because, of course, everybody's going to say that's not my drug stash back there, right? But you'd have to prove that that's not your drug stash.
Oh.
And I think I told you that this actually happened to a former client of mine. She called me up. Her case was over, but she called me up with this other problem. She had bought a used, very, very nice luxury SUV, but used, from an auto broker that caters to like high-end customers that don't want to have to go shop. This guy procures the car for them. So 6 months later, the FBI contacts her and the U.S. Marshal's office. They seize her vehicle because they tell her it was at a drug auction, was where this drug dealer auction was where this car broker bought it, and they now know from testimony that there's all kinds of cocaine in the doors of the car.
Oh,
so they took her car. And so then she's out of car, not her fault, out the money, not her fault.
Oh, jeez.
What kind of insurance claim is that, too? They just took my car because there's loads of coke in it.
There's
but it
cocaine in the
mine.
doors.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you add that to your
and
policy?
they told her, at some point you're going to get it back, but it's not going to be anytime soon because it's evidence.
Oh, and then it's been torn apart and all that different things.
That is a good point, though, Jerry, Blake, what you say with the license plate, because even if the dealership does put the license plates on, but you don't expect that little the date tag on the. You just assume it's registered.
The tag's good
but
enough.
If that's expired registration, the tag's on there. You get pulled over, it's still your responsibility. Technically, that the thing wasn't registered.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
Well,
like
and anything in the car, like you were saying about drugs. Like I also had a former client who was he was on probation, so he could not possess a firearm. He was trying to turn his life around. He had a good job. He was doing construction. One of the other guys said, "Take my truck, go pick up this stuff at Lowe's, right, or at the building supply store, or whatever." So he jumps in the truck, goes. He gets pulled over for something like expired tag or something. They say, step out of the car. They look around. There's a gun in the car. Bam. He's busted back to prison.
No.
Oh, my
his
gosh,
car,
that's horrible.
Not his car, not his gun, but his responsibility, because technically he's in possession of that.
How your responsibility is if you borrow a car from somebody, you got to go looking in secret compartments.
You got to make sure there's no drugs and no guns if that's, or anything illegal.
Man.
Yeah.
That feels weird,
It does.
where you're already asking somebody, can I borrow your car? And then you have to be like, but I don't trust you entirely. You're doing me a favor. I don't trust you entirely. Let me just go through all your stuff.
And they're
first.
going to take the door panels off to see if there's coke in there.
Yeah, and they're like, you're insane. Don't borrow my car. All right, Lisa, you're great. Official attorney of Jared and Katie in the morning. If you're ever injured on the job, contact her right away at hireaheavyweight.com.